In the press office, Mike Kennedy tries to sort out travel arrangements for the next batch of journalists, the British.
Yes, yes, he blames himself, I hope. Yeah, journalists don't always, you know. Okay, that's fine. So, okay, once you've sorted that, the flight's okay to go, but let me know which way you've sorted it. Okay, thanks, Marianne. Bye. Neil Linden. Forgotten his passport.
It has got flexibility in its right side. All right, I'm happy with that. Right, I'm off.
Dennis is driving to Genoa Airport to fetch today's group.
Major national.
Mike wants to avoid quarrels at the table.
I think the Telegraph and the Times would put Eric Bailey.
Okay, so Eric Bailey there.
There, yeah, and Kevin Eason opposite him. Okay. They get on all right, don't they?
Yes.
Yes, Eric gets on very well with John at the 400 launch, and Kevin and John, despite that little snooker hiatus, I think get on pretty well together.
Be all right.
Yeah.
Here we go. So it's a good flight.
White wine wasn't good. Wasn't drinkable.
The white wine wasn't drinkable?
Attention to detail. Something went wrong there.
I should take a poll on that.
Next aboard, the men from the Sun and the Daily Telegraph. Foreign freebies come with the territory for Top Gear's Quentin Wilson. He's seen it all before.
Rover is getting very good at controlling its launches these days, and instead of giving us a car beforehand, they wanted to go through the full indoctrination procedures, so we come out warm and positive, so. And with all this lovely light and this Italian pasta, I'm sure it'll all be fine. It'll all work out wonderfully.
The Sunday Telegraph's Neil Linden has found his passport, which Rover may come to regret. For him, the 200 isn't the story. He's interested in the bigger picture.
I mean, Rover's a corporation that if it was a person, it would be in need of counselling, you know, in need of therapy. It's had, 5 major changes of identity in 25 years? You know, I mean, any individual who'd been through that would be a basket case. You know, from the staid, stuffy, old, independent company of the 60s, the massive corporation of the 70s, you know, 5th largest corporation in the world, automobile corporation in the world, under nationalisation, BLMC, British Aerospace, Honda, BMW, and in every case, really, the question for Rover, and it's a very strongly British question, is how does it relate, you know, to the developing global market? Is it credible, is it imaginable that people in Europe are going to go for what is essentially a Honda with a few bits of wood on it?
The Rover grille and the wood inside. If you remove the Rover grille and you took out the wood, what is it that makes that car British?
But I would dwell on the engineering aspects. The combination of very safe, very predictable and extremely comfortable ride.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a rehearsal to show the chief of design. He's going to walk around the car and tell us exactly how he got this coothy little shape. So.
With nothing to do, the newspaper journalists are growing restive.
Well, I think it would have been useful, having come all this way and started early this morning, if you could have actually driven the car from the airport. I think Rover would have got more use for our time, and I think the questions asked at the press conference would probably have been more to the point.
And this will be an object lesson on how not to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
You've got to get it right, and in the UK, that means it's got to beat Escort, it's got to beat Astra, or at least more than compete with them.
Told you it would all go horribly wrong, didn't I? Here we go, you see, meddling.
BMW have been stalking Rover for more than 7 years before they actually bought it, but what they were really after was Land Rover, and of course there is a new small Land Rover coming that's going to be a real money spinner. The car side of it, I think they weren't so worried about, but they were told they couldn't buy Land Rover as a separate package. This particular vehicle that we're looking at here today has, in fact, BMW's had no involvement with it. The car was already signed off, which means it was agreed how it was going to be before BMW purchased Rover Group.
The crescent stripes, yeah.
While the Birmingham workers polish the cars, the managers are just as busy putting a gloss on Rover's revived British image. Every 24 hours, a new batch of journalists sits down to the same dinner and drives the same route. For the PR team, every day is the same.
And forward. Eat up. Superb. Travel to Asia Pacific. Talk to the people there. Understand the values that they express, and particularly the values that they express in a car. People there would love, absolutely love, to be running a business which had these same emotional characteristics, these same emotional opportunities, the opportunity to build on a mark, to build on an image.
We see that on Top Gear as well. We have this mantra. We say that people don't want to hear about engines, they don't want to hear about technology, unequal length drive shafts, 1 million kettles would go on, 2 million lavatories would flush. All they want to know are 3 things: how fast the car goes, how much it costs, and whether, and this is most important, whether you can pull in it or not. And it works. It's true. And there is out there on the street this very keenly observed social order of motor cars. And even the most sort of clueless motoring duffer can more or less accurately position them, because what your car says about you is the most fascinating and endlessly enjoyable subject. And we are, whether we like it or not, a nation of complete petrol heads.
Are we ready to...
Yes, let's go.
Rock and roll?
Rock and roll.
At last, a chance to put the 200 through its paces. The journalists have 4 hours to test the car on a challenging 100-kilometre route.
Okay, so what do you make of? Yeah, I was just saying, just given that we're test driving this car, what do you make of the? What do you make of it so far? Any first impressions?
Well, at 25 miles an hour, it seems perfectly okay.
The punter is going to buy this wants it to work, principally, and wants it to look pretty, and it's certainly in its class.
Well, it's different
It looks
as well.
about as good as anything in it. Well, if not better than anything in its class. My wife is English.
I've got one thing to do today,
Yeah.
apart from drive this car,
Yeah.
and that is to buy a pizza pan.
Oh, right.
It's a bit more wind noise than I expected.
I'm very keen on the idea of all 4 wheels remaining on the ground as well. So
I think that must be because you don't do much driving. This is a test.
so yes, but we must get home from it in one piece. I think I'm going to convert to Catholicism in a moment, so I can do some of the things here that might assist my well-being.
Help you a bit.
Yeah.
Having driven it, I feel far more positive about it than I did when I originally saw it. I thought it got some nice styling effects on it, but I thought perhaps it needed a bit more personality. But when you drive it, it's got some real zest about it.
If you think British, you think Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, Jaguar. Great if you want to pay £40,000 for a car. People buying these things for £10,000 will be less worried about wood and more worried about it being reliable.
I think what this confirms, though, is that Rover now have got all of the capabilities to make a damn good car. The question mark will be exactly how much input BMW will have into that.